All right. How we doing out there? Still more out there? Do we need to holler to Dave? Hey, Matt, is there anybody still out there that you need to bring them in? All right, they're coming. We're doing good. Hey, Keith. All right. What's that? All right, welcome everybody to week 2.
Nice. Got a couple new guys there.
Looks like we got some people. Anthony and Conrad, good to see you guys. All right. So, we got quite a few new people. So, if you didn't get the information when you came in, there's some sign-up sheets out on the welcome place. So when we're done talking in here, you'll be able to go out there and sign up for a group before they disperse into the different groups. So we'll get you hooked up in a group. And if you miss the sheets and you don't know where to go, just find me or Ron, and we'll find you a home to be with. So anyways, appreciate you guys coming back once again. We're really looking forward to this study. And just another thing, this is what we're gonna. Let me turn my thing on here. This is our topic for the night. I don't know what you guys know about women, but I thought I knew some things and found out I didn't know very much at all as I grew up. So the first time I took a study that was like this, it would have been 6 years ago now. And so, yeah, I would have been a 29-year-old, thought I knew a lot, but this really did teach me some things and set me on a path towards just discovering more and more about my wife, and it really did bless me and help me. So really excited to get the same material into your guys' hands and to teach it with my friend Ron. So if you guys weren't here last week, I'm Eric Sherman.
Ron Mills.
And Ron Mills is over here. So we'll be your entertainers for the next 15 or 16 weeks. And so you'll see some of the guys, I saw a couple in here that were wearing their shirts. And so if you are new here or you, for whatever reason, didn't get your shirt, Keegan, do you want to be a model real quick and just stand up? So
flex those muscles.
Yeah, look at that. So this is our yearly shirt that we got. So if you're here tonight, we have some shirts back there. I do think that we may have run out of the extra larges. So if you needed that size, you may have to go up to one or move down to the other one. So yeah. I think that was all I was going to share about that. Make sure we got that covered. Then really just recap from last week. So I got this slide. Is kind of the principle, like you see it on the shirts, and it's just the phrase "die to live." But we talked about the paradox principle that Jesus taught us when he was on the cross, that in him dying, that we all could live. And thank God for that. 2,000 plus years later, we're all here. We're still talking about Jesus, and he's been long on the cross, off the cross, and now living in heaven with God. So, but he made this principle that we can now live by, and it applies to so much in life, especially the areas in which we're talking about, where we're trying to win at home with our wives, with our kids. And we're trying to bring God and win in the workplace as well. So this principle is key that we understand. So
right. And I was going to say, if you guys, after this week, if you don't find some places that you need to die, ask your wife. I'm sure that she can very easily point some areas out.
So yeah, we're going to try to take you on this journey of understanding these interesting creatures that a lot of us get married and choose to live with, and they're called women, and they are quite interesting. And there's just so many differences. So there's just a couple worldly, I guess, just pictures just to kind of present in a way that in a humorous way of showing how different we can be. So this is just the different brains. And so you can kind of see the guys is up here. I'll try to get to the side to kind of comment on some of the things. So you can see this huge sports area of the brain. This huge muscle part right here is the sex part. The personal hygiene synapse is this little spot down here. And like I say, in the same humor, you can see all this, the gossip lobe for the women. It's kind of funny. And here's another funny one. And so, you're all laughing, and I didn't even have to explain it either. That's the funniest thing. At some point in you guys' married life, you must have been told, nope. And that came out of that book right there, that 102 Escape Moves. It says, nope, not tonight. Man. All right. All right, a couple things that are key for us to understand right off the bat. And like I say, if you were never trained, just like I was never trained, I didn't have a dad, or even I had an awesome grandpa, but he didn't sit down and tell me, what women are like and why you need to be a certain way. So you just go into it blindly and you try to figure it out. So just a couple points. And I feel like I'm ringing a little bit, but it says, immature men assume women see life the way they do. And then the second point there, that real men know women don't and work at recognizing and appreciating the differences.
Don't be insulted by that, guys. I know the first time I took this, it was revelation to me. I really thought that my wife was broken. I thought that she should think like I did. Thank God I found out that she shouldn't, and it's a blessing to me now that she doesn't, and that she's opposite than I am.
Yeah, and what I hope that we can try and prove to you, or at least help you key in an understanding, is that naturally we just don't get them. So if you just think of what comes naturally to you, that's probably going to be the opposite of the way that she's thinking. And it's going to be frustrating until you actually understand the way that her brain works and why she thinks the way that she does. And then before you know it, if you can choose to understand those kind of things and get to know why, those differences can actually be a blessing to you and really can fill in a lot of your gaps. And I don't know if you knew that or not, but you're not perfect either. And I know, we're all guys in here. We probably like to think we have it all together, but there really are some blind spots that we don't know that really get filled in nicely and complemented well with when we choose to marry a woman. And so, next point. Oh, I talked about that, but I'll leave it up there in case you needed to read that again. Yeah, real men don't, or no women don't, and work at recognizing and appreciating the differences. So. All right, so here's a key scripture. We're going to refer to this again. This is one of the foundation ones for this whole study. And it comes out of 1 Peter, chapter 3, verse 7. And so here's the whole scripture if Ron wants to read it.
Likewise, husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way, showing honor to the woman as the weaker vessel, since they are heirs with you of the grace of life, so that your prayers may not be hindered.
And so keyed in on really the text that we're getting to tonight, and that's living with your wives in an understanding way, which is just key. If the Bible's telling us to do that, it probably means that we're probably going to have a natural bent towards not doing that. And so it's trying to help us in a way that's going to help our lives and our futures.
How many guys struggle understanding their wife?
It's okay, yeah.
See, it's unanimous that we need Christ then, huh?
Yeah.
We need an interpreter.
Yeah. And so I had a note in here that kind of goes along with this, but it just said that raw power never makes a man to a woman. Just being the stronger of the two genders, does not make that a man. And hopefully you'll learn through this whole study, what a man really is, and just the different studies I guess we've been able to put on, are key in trying to help with that. So, a couple points, some timely insights. It says here is what you don't know will always hurt you. And then here's a phrase I've used over the years several times, is that men get down on what they're not up on. And it really is true. You will be frustrated at the things that you don't understand. And so the key for you coming here is to gain that understanding, is really just humble yourself, like we said last week. That's the best posture you can have, is just realize I don't know it all. I'm going to need some help. And then either you learn it here or you talk about it in your small groups, and you get those insights. It's amazing what wisdom is sitting in these seats right now. And as I bounce around from team to team, or whatever you want to call it, group to group, I hear it. I get to hear it and experience it. Not only what I can offer it, but man, there's a lot of people that have blessed me when I sit in the groups and they share what they know or how they've done it wrong. And that's a key insight I've also learned, is that just because you failed, maybe you've been divorced or whatever like that, a lot of guys can learn from that. You may feel like, oh, it's a failure. I don't have anything to offer to this group because I got divorced. No, I guarantee you that is something that a guy in here can benefit from. If you share your stories, you share where maybe it went wrong, you own your side of it, and it really will bless someone and maybe prevent that from happening to them. So, all right. So the kind of the meat and potatoes of of tonight is these points. So some things that you must know about women is that there is a gender difference. Even though the devil is doing his best efforts at trying to say we're completely equal and the same. We're equal as far as importance in God's eyes, but we are not the same. And there's some clear differences. I wrote some points just right here. And then I have this article I was looking at today. But these are just some of the differences. And I'm sure you've seen it, or maybe you've experienced it. We're action oriented, versus them being highly relational. It always wows me to watch my wife just connect with a new person, and in a matter of minutes, they're talking about like deep life issues. And I'm thinking I need to be with a guy for probably a few months before I'd even scratch that surface. And it's just different how they are. And they're faster. I don't ever really argue with my wife because her brain works faster than mine, and it's easy for me to kind of take a patient approach at that because she'll just outwit me. And some people are like that, but and I think it's different areas that works into. But and then men's are specific and focused. And then I got this part in here about the kind of the radar versus the laser beam approach. For me, I can do really good on a single task, and I can watch my wife in conversation, and it's like chaos to me. But we'll be having dialogue with multiple women, talking about multiple things, and I get scramble brain, what in the world is happening here? And they know what everything is said, what all the things are, and I'm thinking I couldn't do that. One of you talk, and I'll listen. That's kind of my deal. I know I've joked about this in the past, but I've found this to be true. Even while having sex, I've noticed I have a laser focused brain, and my wife has a radar brain. She's still wondering if the kids are about to come into the room. She's still wondering, if I left the dinner out. She's still wondering what tomorrow's going to be like. I can tell you that has nothing to do on my mind in that moment. It just doesn't. And it's proof of just the way that our brains are. And when you can understand that, you can learn to appreciate it and learn to work with it rather than work against it. That's the key thing. So,
and we'll get into that too.
Yeah. But there was a pretty cool article here. And like I say, I won't probably hit too much of it for the sake of time, but it's by scienceofpeople.com. And it just goes into fascinating facts about the two different brains. And the only reason I tell you that is I believe you all should take some interest in going home and doing some homework on that, and just learning some of the differences and find out, oh, this is why this frustrates me, or this is why she does that. It will be encouraging to you as you read it. A lot of those things that have stressed you out and frustrated you and wondered why will be answered in that, just that small study. And man, you can have a whole lot of greater conversations and understanding in your wife.
I was going to say, if you guys are patient and instead of just residing in that frustration, just ask why. Like Eric said, if you guys study your wives, you'll learn a lot of things that you're doing to aggravate her and why she does the things that she does. And you can learn and grow and overcome that just in communication.
Yep. All right, so that was the gender difference. Second point is the need difference. This is one that was really key for me to learn, is that Men and women have different needs. The way that they're designed, what they actually need from the relationship is different. And so we're going to hit on the key ones that she needs. These are great for the guys that are taking notes. If you did not get a note sheet, Matthew in the back right there, he has some extras. If you didn't get one because we ran out or something like that and you want to raise your hand, perfect. I'll pause right now because I'd rather you take notes. And we can make more even if needed. We'll try to have some extras on the table next time. Keep those hands raised. He's coming up front now. There we go. Like I say, some people are different. Some people like the paper notes. Some people take them on their phones.
Over on this side, Matt.
Yeah, there's right up front here. And I think that was all that I saw for hands up that you still needed. All right.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, brother. All right. So the first need difference, and this is a big one, is security. And you can see that I got two areas that I list here. She wants to be safe financially, and she wants to be safe relationally. And very, 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 very key, I'm sure you guys probably experienced this at some point in your life, that trust is huge with them.
Right.
It's very, very big.
She needs to know that she's number one.
Yep. And like I say, you may find, in talking to different guys in here that maybe you aren't the key maker of the money in your family, but it is a key thing. So it's worth bringing up and conversing about, even if you're not the one that makes the most money in the family, about talking about how you can be financially safe. We offer classes. Kent's teaching one right now as we speak, just to get that area of your life handled in a way that she's not feeling the pressure that, like the bills aren't going to get paid. Like just having that mindset that she's safe, that she's secure, that does wonders for her. So, like I say, that the trust one, I've shared multiple times that I did a terrible job. I'm not a great example of how to start out. And what I did is I went on my honeymoon over to Canada and went to a strip club and had to come home and tell my wife that. All the while trying to, say I'm this type of person and stuff like that and stuff. So I had to own that part. And thankfully, I didn't waste any time doing that. I said it right away because I felt terrible about it. And but that took a good 5 years of repairing.
Right.
Even as trustworthy of a person as I am, even owning it the day after I get back, it still took 5 years to get repaired. It's just a huge deal if you're gonna flirt that line of where she cannot trust you. You're gonna find out that this part of her need isn't being met, and she's not gonna want to be intimate with you as much. It's gonna affect your intimacy.
For sure.
And so I'm not saying you do all these things to get it, but that's a byproduct of all these things being taken care of, is you have greater level of intimacy. And that's one of guys' main needs most of the time. So, but we'll go to point 2. Conversational companionship. This might feel like nails on a chalkboard to some of you. But I'm telling you right now, it is one of her key needs.
Absolutely. And actually listen to her and not just be playing with your phone while she's talking, but acknowledge what she's saying and have a conversation with her.
Yep. And so I wrote some key pointers up there. That in marriage counseling, stuff like that, this is usually the number one complaint that comes up, is that their husband or the guy that they're with doesn't talk to them. And if you study the brain things, you'll find out why. You'll find out that we don't want to talk. But you're also going to find out that she does. And so if you're going to strut this shirt around that we're giving you that says die to live, guess what choice you have to do? You get to die a little, and you have to start talking, and you're going to find out that it blesses your marriage to do so. It really will. And so...
How many guys want to have sex with their wives in here? Would it be worth acknowledging her and having a conversation for?
Yeah, and some of those other key points, like say, is the dating your wife. If you can get her on a date weekly, man, you're storing money in the bank. I'm telling you. I can't even do that, having young kids and stuff like that. and just trying to stay to a budget. You know, it doesn't always work out that you can get your family to babysit, so then you're paying for a sitter. So I understand all that. But really, that should be your goal. If you could get to that point, you know, you're scoring really big. And maybe if your kids are out of the house, you know, I got Doug Behrens in here. He probably dates his wife all the time. That guy's probably just, man, she's probably like, man, what an awesome dude that guy is. I bet it. How many times you date your wife in a given month? Do you get her out weekly? Yeah? Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Good. We'll get to that point too. And then create some special occasions, you know. Take 2 to 3 overnighters a year. And so this is a good point where we can talk about it. Last week, if you weren't here, I forgot what date it is. I think it's February 10th. Just so you guys all know, make sure if you weren't here, write this down. February 10th. We would normally come here, but we're not coming here, right? What are we doing? Date night. Date night. So if you're married or you got a girlfriend, take February 10th and do an ultimate date night with your wife or your girlfriend. If you don't qualify one of those two, then find some brothers in here and go do something with them. But really, that's what we're really wanting to push is you're learning all about your girls here, but take that night, make it special. Like I say, I've already talked it over with my wife. She's got all excited. We're going to stay at a hotel. So that's an overnighter. That's one of those overnighters that you can put on your calendar. We're giving you a free night off to make it happen. It's going to cost you maybe a vacation day on Tuesday from work, but I promise you it'll be worth it. Promise you. Start working on the effort now. I'm telling you, if you wait till that week before, you will not be able to make it as special. She'll probably still think it is because maybe she doesn't know it's coming, but the more special you can make it, the better.
I just want to say on that date night, if you guys bring your notes along with you and go over it and use this key phrase, how does that make you feel? You'll get all kinds of points. Serious.
You're getting ahead on the...
Sorry.
We'll get to those points in just a bit. All right, point 3. One of her other needs, she needs to feel that she's significant, that you value her, that she's important. That's something she really deeply needs to feel from you. And you can do that all kinds of different ways. And really you got to know your girl to what speaks to her. But I gave some different things that may really mean something to her. You know, including her on big decisions. I know someone in here, I remember him saying that he bought a boat one time and just came home with it, you know. His wife had nothing to say about whether that boat was going to come, you know, and that could be, you know, $5,000+ purchase. And some people operate like that. Like, they don't even have to discuss that with their wife. They can just go out and do that. And not only, you know, are you not hitting on this need, you may also be hitting on that safe financially need as well. So even though you're all, you know, high five and everything, your level of intimacy maybe you just dropped off the map because of that decision. So it's just things to think about.
I was going to say, one of the questions that's running through her head is, am I important to you? Mm-hmm. You know, and that all comes into making this significant. I mean, if you spend more time chasing deer and plotting out land and setting up your deer stands than you do pursuing your wife, that automatically tells her that that's more important than she is. So we have to make sure that we're showing her that she's significant.
Yeah, and so there's plenty of things that you can do to make her feel valued. One of the key things I've learned to do is take tiny breaks from work. If she gets onto my mind at all during work, I know I have to stop what I'm doing because I am laser focused and I want to keep doing that. And I have to take a break and take the 30 seconds to send her the text to tell her that I appreciate her or whatever it may be. I'm telling you, it makes a difference when you get home if you spent that 30 seconds showing her that you valued her during the day. Absolutely. It was so small and simple. And like I say, it's not natural. It's not something I ever thought to do. It's just something I had to learn how to do. But boy, has it helped me.
But if you're doing that in an understanding way, to us it's just a text. To her, it's like, oh my gosh, he's thinking about me at work. I'm so special. You know, I mean, it seems minute to us, but it's going to be a big deal to her.
All right. So you understand that, hopefully. If you got a girl in your life, take your phones out right now. Just send her something nice. She's going to maybe be like, what in the heck's going on? Maybe she doesn't get that. But just let her know, like, hey, I'm at men's study right now and I'm thinking about you. Maybe that's your text. And just see where it goes. I'm not saying let it, derail your whole night, because maybe, I don't know what you guys send to each other. I'm just saying it could benefit you tonight, even.
After you rub her feet.
Yeah. Like I say, a lot is what you've already put in work doing. Are you able to capitalize on that? If you haven't done anything at all today, it may be just out of the blue. Maybe you haven't done anything in a week. Maybe it's just a starting spot. But really, just encouraging you guys to do that. All right. There was another point in here, but I'm thinking it's
Affection.
right. But I got this slide up, so I'm thinking I misplaced the slide over the other one. But I'll cover the last one, and it'll probably come up after this video. But it's affection and treasuring. That's point 4 of her needs. And a lot of them will say that this is her number one need. And it goes hand in hand with the last one of making her feel significant. But she needs that. And like I say, a lot of it is unnatural.
Right. This is going to be purposeful about praising her character, the things that she does for you, the things she does in the household. And immediately for men, affection means sex, but for her, it's non-sexual contact. So it's going to be important for you to have physical contact with her in a non-sexual way, along with these praising.
Yeah, and so some of the points that you'll probably see after this video, I just wrote down hugs, compliments. And then this next one is one that my wife always told me that I wasn't good at it, and then I learned it in here, and it finally started getting good at it. But it was public praise. If I was out in public, I would just go do my own thing. And I didn't realize what that was doing to her. I'd just go hang out with people over here, and I just figured, well, she'll find people and converse with. And I come to find out, I was damaging this need part of her. She wanted to be included. She wanted, me to, just be with her and hang out with her and introduce her to people and stuff like that. And talk about her in conversation as well. So that was something I had to learn. It just wasn't something that I knew to do or anything like that.
I'd say that's not easy either. I mean, we go out to dinner and our wives end up sitting at somebody else's table, praying over them or whatever. So sometimes you have to be purposeful to chase them down and let them know those things too.
Yeah. Giving them some notes of affirmation. We'll talk on the love languages next week, but if they're a words person, that's a big deal. My wife's a words person, so that's why those texts actually do mean something, even more so than just in general. They just take them extra if they're words. And special occasions, say, you could put that along with the dating and stuff like that. So anyways, I have this Jimmy Evans video. It's about 15 minutes long. You're basically going to hear a lot of the same stuff that I just shared, but you're going to hear it from him, who's a professional in the field of marriage and stuff like that. So sometimes it's nice hearing it from another source, and maybe it'll just kind of cement these ideas in your brain as you leave here tonight. So just listen to this.
Your spouse is different than you are. The 4 major needs of a man are different than the 4 major needs of a woman. Now, this doesn't sound good, but it's a true statement. If you married someone normal, they're not like you. Okay, it doesn't sound good. But if you married I thought Karen, she's the most attractive woman in the world, but gosh, she's so weird. She was just so strange. And the reason she was strange is she wasn't like me, because I'm the epicenter of normal. Normal's me. So she was just so different than me, and most people take the energy that God gave them to love each other trying to change each other. And in many marriages, it's a battle of who's going to win. Is this going to be a woman home or a man home? Is it going to be a home where my needs prevail or your needs prevail? Let me say this. In a Christian marriage, it's a win-win situation. No one loses. Everyone gets their needs met, but when you have a bad marriage, it means I'm rejecting your inherent differences. Let me say this. When you reject my needs, you reject me. When I'm telling you what my needs are and you keep rejecting that, that's rejection. It feels like rejection. It's frustrating. And so when I'm telling you what my needs are, I just need you to believe me. And I need you to accept that. Here are the 4 needs of a woman and how to understand and meet her needs. And the first is security. It says, husbands, love your wives just as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for her. The standard for women is respect your husband the way you would Jesus. The standard for men is give your life for her. Just like Jesus gave his life for you, you love her more than you love yourself. You sacrifice yourself for her. The mega need for men is honor. The mega need for women is security. So women feel most secure in an environment where there is a sacrificial, sensitive man that they're married to. Women feel most insecure when they're married to a selfish, detached man. Security to a woman just simply means, to my hurt, I will meet your needs. I come second. I'm not the head of this home, so I can get it my way and I get the big chair and the clicker in the living room. I'm the head of this home so that I can serve you and make sure whatever you need, you get it first before I get it. You come before me. And you'll never have to nag. You'll never have to beg. Tell me once. I'm studying you. You're on my heart. Tell me once and you'll get it. And if I don't agree, I'll tell you right up front. But if I tell you no, it's only because it's not a good thing for you. But I will sacrifice to meet your needs. Women are in heaven. Women are in heaven. They need security. Here's how to meet your wife's need for security. Communicate your commitment to sacrifice for her. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. He gave himself for her. I will have to sacrifice something. I'll have to sacrifice an interest, a hobby, a friend, an event, an opportunity, a promotion. I don't know what I'm going to have to sacrifice. But here's the issue. Nothing is as important to me as you are, and I will sacrifice to make sure that your needs are met. Just the way Jesus sacrificed for me, I'm going to sacrifice for you. The second is be sensitive to your wife's needs and don't make her nag or beg. Never, ever should your wife have to nag or beg. Romance, when you send your wife flowers or cards or you're romantic to your wife, what you're saying to your wife is you're on my heart. The lack of romance simply means I don't think about you. You're not on my heart. My uncle now, I did my uncle's funeral, this is years ago. And my uncle and my aunt were married for 40 years, had a wonderful marriage. I did my uncle's funeral, and when I was doing his eulogy, my aunt told me that for 40 years of marriage, he wrote her a new poem every day. Let me just tell you something. There's only so many ways you can work around roses are red, violet, Think about that for just a minute. Every day for 40 years. And I never even thought about it. They had a wonderful marriage. She was the happiest woman on earth. I said, are you kidding me? She said, on our dining room table every morning, there was a new poem that he wrote me. You know what that means? When he was alone every morning, he was thinking about her. As opposed to a man who's never romantic. And it just means my mind is somewhere else. And so I'm sensitive to you. Be a faithful provider and a faithful money manager, because that's another part of her security, is knowing that she's going to be provided for. And let me say this, whatever job you have, some of the most important people in society are not well paid. Teachers, policemen deserve a lot more money than they get. And the issue, give them a hand. And the issue isn't the size of the paycheck. The issue is the size of the commitment, which just simply means I'm going to provide for this home, and I'm going to make sure that I lead in the financial management of the home. And I'll talk about that more in just a minute. Number 2 need for a woman is soft, non-sexual affection. Again, women need this. And the more non-sexual, soft affection they get, the more sexual they become, which is an amazing thing. And so you need to be physically affectionate with your wife. You need to listen to her when she's telling you she wants to be held, and be patient and gentle. And what it communicates to her is she's more to you than just a sex object. That, again, you're connected on a higher level than just sex. And to her, that's connection. When you're holding her hand, your arm is around her. I had one couple that he only touched her sexually. And she said, outside the bedroom, he's never touched me. He never held my hand, never put his arm around me. And there was a tremendous amount of anger and frustration there. I grew up with I have 2 older brothers, Damien and Lucifer. And we fought every day. My parents were not affectionate people. I had wonderful parents. They were not affectionate people. And my brothers and I was the youngest of 3 boys. We fought every day. I mean, I just lived in a war zone. And I didn't know how to be affectionate. Karen and I started dating, and I knew how to be rough or sexual. I didn't know how to be affectionate. We started dating, and I just didn't know how to be affectionate. Karen wanted me to be affectionate. When I held her hand, I pinched around on it. And I like that. It feels good. I like that thing. She didn't like that at all. She'd say, that hurts. I say, you'll toughen up. You know, don't let my brothers beat you up 2 or 3 times. You'll get used to it. And then I get nervous. You know, I just didn't know how to be affectionate. And so I put my arm around her and I put her in a headlock. You know, and she'd say, I don't like that. I don't like that. Don't do that. And again, I think, you'll get used to it. It really, well, she never got used to it. So we were married, and she was sitting across the room one day folding clothes, and the Lord just impressed on me, walk over and put your arm around her, and just nothing beyond that. Just put your arm around her. Well, I'd never done that before. I mean, boy, I was so nervous, you know. You know. So she's over there folding clothes. We're sitting in the room. So I start walking across the room, and I'm going to be affectionate. And she sees me coming. You know, it's like pervert alert. You know, incoming. But so I sat down next to her, put my arm around her, you know, and just kind of patted her there for just a minute. And of course, she knew something. You know, either wrestling, sex, or a combination of the two were impending at that moment. But I didn't. And I just kind of patted her there for a minute, you know, and then I got up and walked across the room. She said, well, what did you do? I said, well, I'm being affectionate. She said, I like that. I thought, well, now I've spoiled her. And so we got in the car one day, and I said, let me hold your hand. I was getting better at being affectionate. I said, let me hold your hand. She said, no, because she didn't trust me, you know, because I pinched her around. I said, let me hold your hand. And she said, no. And I said, let me hold your hand. She said, it just healed up. But I remember I held her hand and I didn't pinch it. And I just thought, that's, you know, phenomenal. And so I learned to be affectionate with Karen, and it changed everything. I mean, and that's normal for me. I mean, I love it. But your wife needs non-sexual touching and affection. And some men would say, well, that's just not the way that I am. Doesn't matter. You need to change. You need to meet her need. It wasn't natural for me. I wasn't raised in that kind of a family, and it's not a need that I have. It's not a need that I have, but it's a need that she had. And so when I changed, it changed our marriage. It was tremendously. Number 3 need that women have is open and honest communication. Is women don't want headlines. They don't want grunts and groans. They don't want to hear nothing. Who'd you see today? No one. What'd you do? Nothing. I drove to work, stood in front of a blank wall, and told everybody to be quiet. And I drove directly home. I have spoken to no one today. Is when your wife, she wants this again, this is how she connects to your world, is through communication. And to your heart. And so when your wife says to you, what did you do today? Here's the answer she wants. You want to say, I didn't do much. I didn't do much. No, I saw Bob. And Bob is the same as Bob has always been. Okay. She says, how was your day? Here's what she wants to hear. 6:32 a.m. I came into consciousness. I still had my eyes closed, but I was feeling a little emotional about my meeting with Bob. And she wants the whole day. And she doesn't just want the event, she wants the feelings. The feelings associated. See, I would talk to Karen for years, and I'd tell her something. She'd say, well, how'd you feel about that? And I'd say, feel? How'd you feel? I don't feel anything, you know. And well, men come emotionally unassembled, and women wire them up, you know. And that's how they do it. They get you talking, then they start saying, this is a feeling. See right there, that's a feeling. And you're going to have more of those as more conversations take place. And so again, I told Karen wanted me to talk. And I felt like she was nosy anyway. And I thought, I'm not feeding the monster. Information is the worst thing for her. You got to starve that thing out of her because she knows it. She wants to know about everything. So that's honestly the way I felt about it. And I'd come in the door and she started asking questions just like, ha. So I told Karen, when I changed, I said, okay, I'll talk. Okay. So I told her one, I said, we'll sit down and we'll talk for as long as you want to talk about anything you want to talk about. And I thought, I am the greatest man ever lived. And B, they'll find me dead tomorrow with my brain sucked out. Because the sister will suck my brain right out my ear. I don't stand a chance. So we got together that night and we sat face to face, turned off the TV, we sat face to face and we talked. And Karen, she had never done this before. I had never patiently talked to my wife ever in our marriage and given her the response that she was looking for. So we started talking. And Karen, this and this and this and this and this and this. And she asked, what about this? What about this? What about this? And she would say, well, how'd you feel about that? Well, there's a couple of things in my childhood she knew about, and she always wanted to know, because she knew I was messed up, And she was just trying to locate the exact time and place, but she pretty much knew that. So she asked her, well, how'd you feel about that? I didn't know. Honestly, when I was growing up, I just shut off emotions. Because I couldn't handle them. Some of the things that happened, just like all of us, I just didn't know it, so I just shut them off. Well, Karen knew that those things were still in there because women are amazing in this regard. They really are. And Karen would say, well, how did you feel about that? And I said, Karen, honestly, I didn't feel anything about that. She said, yes, you did. You don't know what I feel. And so it was amazing because about a week or two later, I was praying. And the Lord brought it all back to me and began healing my life in that area. And Karen has been amazing with me because I love to talk now. I love talking to Karen. It's one of the favorite things I love to do. Your wife needs for you to talk. And you say, well, I'm just not as verbal as she is. Yeah, you are. It's just an attitude. You can talk as much as you want to talk. If you're with your friends at a basketball game, you talk their ear off. You talk her ear off. You tell her what she wants to know with a good attitude, and you open your heart up to her. She deserves that. It's the way she connects to your world. We don't meet each other's needs based on our needs or our desires. We meet each other's needs based on their needs in a commitment that we're going to do that for the rest of our lives. You meet each other's needs. Women, be more sexual than you feel. Men, be more conversational than you feel, and you'll have a happy marriage. I'm almost done. Last need of a woman is leadership. Women don't want to be dominated. They want to be treated as equals, but they want their husband to be the loving initiator of the home in 4 important areas: the children, romance, finances, and spiritual matters. They want you to be the loving initiator of the home. Now you say, well, I have more of a passive personality. Especially, you need to stand up and just be the initiator. It means you begin the conversation about your children. You begin the conversations about discipline. You begin the conversations about budgeting. You begin the conversations about church and spirituality and prayer and things like that. Again, she wants to be an equal partner. She doesn't want to be dominated. And if you have a naturally strong kind of a dominant personality, you got to ratchet that down. You got to slow down. You have to make a decision that you're not going to make decisions without her, and you're not going to drag her or push her in the process. That you're going to treat her as an equal partner in everything that goes on, but you are going to be the initiator. Women love to be in a relationship with a man who is the loving initiator.
All right. Did you guys catch that? Did you see how much that I'd already talked about that he basically put into that video? And even in the last one in leadership, I found that also to be true. Like say my wife has got a different personality than I do, and I will generally take a passive approach to those categories that he listed. And I found if to meet her need, that I really do need to step up into some of that. And she's reminded me several times, especially like when it comes to how we parent our kids. You know, she does want me not falling behind in that. Like if either I need to initiate or I need to at least uphold what we're trying to do and not be passive about it. So I do know that one hits home quite a bit at our place as well. Like, and we've instructed other people too. You know, when just one parent is the main disciplinarian in their home, especially if it's the wife, she's felt like she's on an island. And you can really gain a lot of grounds back if you say, hon, I want to start kind of co-parenting in this discipline. And you'll be surprised at how much she wants you there. And has been struggling herself at having to be the main disciplinarian and the main one that's going to enforce whatever. Maybe it's healthy food situations or just whatever. Maybe trying to balance their screen time. Maybe they're on their phones or their computers or whatever too much. And she's the one that's constantly nagging them, hey, you're on there too much. You're on there too much. And she's waiting for you, dads, to step in and be like, yes. When she has your guys' support, you'd be surprised what that gains for you in your marriage. So just think about that. So there's all those. I think you got those. And so now there's this difference, the scoring difference. And so we've had a lot of humor with the scoring difference over the years talking about it. That basically, as you can see here, men score on size and women score on the number of acts, not on size. That is a revelation, let me tell you. Because if you're a guy, let's just present this situation to you. You get home from a long day of work, and you get home, let's say you have kids, and you come in the door, and you don't hear any screaming whatsoever. You don't hear any kids running around the house. You don't hear any of that. And you see, like, there's your favorite dinner has been made. The kids have found a babysitter, and your wife is in some skimpy outfit, just waiting there. You know, if you just put those three categories together, like kids are taken care of, not going to be home all night, your favorite dish, your wife's all prettied up, and excited for you to be home. Now that'd be a pretty good thing, wouldn't you say? Like, I mean, if you were scoring that on size, like if you were on like a 1 to 10 scale and 10 meant you just hit a home run, she probably just hit a home run, right? Yeah, 15. Tom even said 15. Yeah.
Good answer,
I agree, Tom.
Good answer.
Yes. Now you flip that script, and that whole situation is the other way. Guess what? You may have just got 2 points out of 10. You know, where you cooked her favorite meal, and you took care of the kids, and you're laying there naked. I can tell you the naked part didn't do anything for her.
You might have lost
took care
a
of
point.
kids. That might have got you a few points, to be honest. But and her favorite meal probably was 1 point. You know, so you take her on a huge vacation to Hawaii. You know, and guess what? You got 1 point. You know, that's kind of the scoring thing that we're talking about. Now, it's kind of you have to think about it in its context and really. Just the general idea of what we're trying to say here is, and I'm sure you guys have experienced it, where you think you've done something really big for her, and you come to find out, like, man, that didn't really go as far as I was really hoping.
Right. Guys, we give ourselves 500 points just for getting out of bed and going to work.
Yeah. And it should be something that's just in your brain to let you know, like, I'm going to have to do several acts sometimes in a day to show her how much that I care, and before that ever registers on that 10 scale for her. You know, there's going to be times like that. I mean, there may be times where you're still riding off some pretty good days, and you carry that into the next day. I've found that to be true sometimes, but really, most of the time it's going to reset on you, and you're going to have to build back up from zero. You know, and but I think there's some multipliers in there as well, and we're going to talk about those next week. Like when you're hitting on a love language. I don't think that those score just 1 point. I think you can get some multiplying action on those, and other things. You know, just know that there is a difference between how guys feel about certain things and how the women see it. So we'll go to the last point, and there's a personality difference. And boy, is there ever a personality difference. Most of you, if you're like me, married your opposite, and with that comes a whole different personality, a whole different set of upbringing and knowledge and mentalities and stuff like that. And so really, you have to spend the rest of your life trying to figure those out the best you can, and finding why she does this and you do it this way, and why this is a strain here and there. It's figuring all that out. So what we have. So that's the time to say it. If you want
So to help you guys out, we have a personality test for you to take. We'll give you blank copies on your way out, but take two, one for you and one for your wife. If you want to do your kids, that would be good too. So basically, you go through the first side. I had to have my wife help me out with this.
Read what it says at the top so they know what the first side is.
Your personality.
So it'll say your personality at the
It's
top.
got 1 and then 4 different words that describe you. Pick out the one that describes you best and put a mark on it. And then you'll have to transfer that to the back side. And whatever you score the highest in is your strongest personality. And then next week, we'll give you the answer to all this.
Yeah, so
And
for
you'll
at this
be amazed because it's really, I mean, do it, guys, because there's major strengths, major differences, weaknesses at home and at work. And it's really cool. I was the dumb guy that thought my wife should be just like me. And this was a huge revelation for me to know that my wife was designed different than I am and that it was a gift. Like, it was really cool to see my strengths and her strengths and how much they, like, complemented each other and how I could make up for her weaknesses in the same way. So this can be a really good thing and a really good conversation over dinner with your wife at the end of the day.
Absolutely. So yeah, we want to make sure on the way out that you're getting at least 2 of those, you know, if you've got a girlfriend or you're married, and have her fill one out as well. Like I say, you'll get the information that complements this. This is just kind of just get the tally marks and, you know, total it all up at the bottom and bring that back next week. And we'll talk about what each of the 4 personality types are and go into greater depth about that. But it was revelation also for me. Some of it is like, aha, you know, yep, that is exactly like I am. And then, you know, you can see it on the, you know, your wife's side as well. It's just, it really is good information. So we've kind of put that in here. So this is this week's Die to Live project. Like I say, it may be like daggers for you to even think about, like, I'm going to talk about this with my wife, but this is a good starting point. You know, it's saying, hey, this is some of the stuff we're learning about. Just want to understand not only myself, but also you. Would you be willing to help me out with this? And so more than likely she's going to do that, and you're going to find it to be really beneficial. So let's see if there's anything in some other points you can talk about. Other stuff. Yeah. So there's multiple things in here that you can take home tonight from what we talked about tonight. Talking about the 4 needs. You know, don't just take my word for it. Don't just take Jimmy's word for it. Ask her. You know, present those 4 or 5 of them to her and just say, are these really what make you tick? And find out from her, like, what's her top one. You know, start keying in on those because it's going to help you.
Guys, you'll be amazed at how powerful this is with your wives. If this isn't something that you're comfortable doing, if you stretch yourself and actually do this, you'll be amazed at how alive she becomes in conversation with you.
Yep. And then, like I say, the probably the scariest one could be this bottom one. But once you kind of know that number 1, you know, maybe the next question, if you're bold enough to go there, is you know, what could you do better? That is a scary question sometimes, guys, just so you know. I've been there a few times, and because you don't know what's coming next. And if she's had a bad day or whatever like that, you may have to be patient because there might be a lot that comes back. But really, let's try to go about it with trying to understand her best we can, with a good heart, and we'll see the fruit from that. So I'll leave you with this quote before we go to our small groups. So it's kind of pixelated, but I liked it. It says, a real man doesn't look for multiple women to love. Instead, he looks for multiple ways to love one woman.
Amen.
So let that be part of what you're doing. So we love you guys, and you're awesome. So if you need a group, come find us. Anything else we missed, Ron?
Nope, I think we're good. Thank you, gentlemen. Have a great week.